Lesson 26, Dotted Rhythm from Learn Violin Fast, Book 2. One of the most challenging rhythms to play is the dotted rhythm. Dotted rhythm is exactly what it sounds like. It's a note with a dot or a period on the side of it. Rule: a dot on the side of a note adds half of the note's value. And one thing that's really confusing is when you get to more advanced music, you'll see lots of dots. There'll be dots below the notes, above the notes, and there'll be dots on the side of the note. And very often you will have notes with dots on the side as well as below and other markings like slurs. So it's a lot of information to process and gather. So if you take a whole note, half of a whole note is a half note. So it'll be a whole note plus a half note. Or if you want to count quarter notes, it's going to have 6 beats. If you take a half note, add a dot, half of a half note is a quarter, so it's going to be 3 quarter notes. If you take a quarter note and you add a dot, you add an eighth note. So a dotted quarter note is equal to 3 eighth notes. And if you put a dot on an eighth note, a dotted eighth note is equal to 3 sixteenths. So one of the tricky parts is that when we have dotted quarters, for example, beat 2, there is no note or anything there, and that's one of the big reasons. One way that I like to think about this is when I see a dotted quarter, for example, and then an eighth note, I think of the dot of the quarter note as beat 2. So that dot is the first half of beat 2. So the reason it's tricky is it's empty space. Beat 2 has no note or rest on it. So visually it's very difficult. So in exercise 27, the top is the subdivision and the bottom will have the dotted half notes. So we're going to play now also lesson 27. The top, I will give 1 bar of what the top line is, and the bottom line will be the actual counting. So the top of lesson 27 is in 4/2, which means 4 half notes per measure. So here's our counting half note. And here is the corresponding bottom line that has the dotted whole notes. If you can play this with your teacher or you can play it with someone else, one person can play the top line and the other person can play the bottom line, and then you can switch. So the top line essentially is just a steady beat or a metronome. The second line we have dotted half notes. So again, the first measure of the top line is, and here's the bottom line of the half notes, which is the second system. When we combine and we put on the paper more than one staff and we connect them with a bracket and then bar lines, that's called a system. So this is the second system of page 33, number 27. The third system, we have dotted quarters. And if we were going to say the rhythm, it's 1, 2, 3, 1 and 3, and 1 and 2, 4, 1 and 3 and. Right? So the eighth note or the subdivisions of the top line are 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, bottom line. And the bottom system with dotted eighth notes. The subdivisions on top are sixteenths. Ticka, 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 ticka. And the bottom line is as follows: 1E and a 2E and a 3, 4. Now, you would never really encounter music with that exact rhythm, but it's just to subdivide, to show visually, and to practice playing these dotted rhythms. I hope this all makes sense. You can clap it, you can tap it, you can pluck it, you can bow it. And in real music, you'll never have this many dotted notes usually, so not to worry if this seems a bit overwhelming. I hope this makes sense, and I'll see you in the next lesson.